Hi, this is Dr. Charlton again. I want to talk to you about making a strong argument. So, in the earlier previous video, I talked about how to improve your logic, how to improve your thinking. And the goal is this: we want to be convincing. We want to not only have a good solution, which is where the critical thinking comes in, but number two, importantly for you, you want to be persuasive. You want to be able to sell your idea. And so much of that comes back to logic and evidence. So, you're going to have some reason why you think we should take this route. Like, for example, with the customer service, you have bad customer service reviews. So, your thought is maybe you want to sue the customer that left the bad reviews. You want to go after them. You want to send them letters, cease and desist. You want to try to attack them, try to ask them to take it down. You want to be really aggressive about these customer reviews. First of all, I would never suggest that route. I've heard that come up before. That's why I give that example. I think it's a bad way to go with customer reviews, but regardless of good or bad, one of the big problems is just logic, logic and evidence. There's no evidence that that works. I've never seen it work. So can you somehow prove that people are going to take these customer reviews down? If you ask them to take them down, if you bully them into taking them down, if you litigate, is there any evidence that that would work? I've seen cases where it's backfired. So there's evidence that, and you could bring this evidence to say, if your boss tells you, hey, we need to get them to take those reviews down, bring evidence like, hey, these people keep showing up in the news because they're trying to sue their customers and it's really bad and it's going to really turn ugly. So we want to avoid that. So you bring evidence to the table that contradicts that. Also just logic. So our problem is customers are unhappy. So then you do something really unpleasant to try to make them happy. It doesn't really work that way. So you need to reason through provide the evidence and logic for it's all about why. Why everything is why. Why do you want to use this solution? Why do you see this as the underlying problem? And you provide the logic and evidence. A lot of times you're not going to be able to provide evidence because it's just very difficult to prove certain things. But if you can really reason through it and help the client or the boss or whoever it is kind of follow you and understand why you want to do what you're doing, it could work just as well. Um, so, for example, back to the customer service issue, I got no evidence of what I want to do. What my idea is, let's um, let's try to improve customer satisfaction by improving the in-store experience. I have three things I want to do to improve that in-store experience. How am I going to improve that? Only by testing, right? And then see if the reviews go up. But for right now, all I have is logic. So how am I going to logic reason through that? I'm going to go and I'm going to observe. I'm going to see where things work, where they don't work, see where there's conflict. Hey, I saw this, I saw that. And so it is a little bit of evidence because you are showing what is currently going on, but it's not evidence that it will work. It's just evidence that there's a problem there. But you can use logic to argue that this will solve my problem. This will solve the customer service problem. Okay, so I think that we should have more training at the front desk because people complained about the front desk. That's very weak in both logic and evidence because we don't know if people complain about other competitors. Do they complain about the front desk? If you had data on that, that's already you start to have some evidence, right? Like, hey, they don't complain about it at our competitor across town, but when in our stores, they keep complaining about the front desk person. They keep bringing it up on all the reviews. So maybe we should do something about it. The other thing is with logic, it's like, will training really answer that, or do we need to get somebody else there? Are there is that person super busy? Like, do we have them doing too much? Do we need to get more people in there? Do we need to rotate with fresh faces because like people are just getting fatigued in that role? Um, is it hard because they feel like the customer's their enemy because we put them in opposed kind of position because they're responsible for telling the customer they have to pay this and that, and the customer doesn't like that. And so it's this back and forth kind of antagonistic relationship by design and not because the person needs more training. More training is almost never the solution, but it comes up a lot. And so many of these problems that we think are training actually relate to just the system. Okay. So with billing, for example, they're told to charge late fees, and there's no conditions where they'll let people out of the late fees. Well, the billing people know well and good that there are certain circumstances where they should probably excuse a late fee because somebody got in a car accident or what have you. And so then you put them in this antagonistic situation where they're like, my hands are tied, there's nothing I can do, you need to pay this. And it's just kind of a really bad situation. That's systemic. That's not because they need more training. That's because the system is broken. And so you can talk to them, talk to the customers, investigate, but then use your logic and evidence to solve these problems, to tell me why. Why should I invest in front desk training? Why is that going to solve my problem? Um, and then the third thing I've listed up here is persuasion. So I've given you several articles to read this week about how to be more persuasive and how to present a better argument. And I hope you'll read those and pay close attention to them and hopefully gain some skills from them. Because one of the things I want to see students improve on a lot is their ability to convince others to go along with their ideas. So it's not enough just to like something or to think, internally, you like it. You probably have some good reason, but you need to verbalize that. You need to figure out what's your reason for liking it and try to sell that to other people. You need to be convincing. So this comes down to, there are a lot of aspects to this, but what I've seen it work well is kind of relating to people, seeing their point of view, and just coming at it from a viewpoint that they can really respect and get on board with. So don't make it, like, for example, don't make it about them. Don't make it into a war. Don't say bad things about them. Don't make them feel bad about what they're doing currently. You want to instead, build them up and show like, well, actually, this is a good company. And it's kind of unfair that our customer service scores are low because there's this one problem. And if we fix this one problem, if we address this, then we're going to really go a long ways towards solving this problem. And so then it's like, kind of like, okay, so you've taken the blame off of them. You haven't put the blame on the boss or the client and, or the brand. And you've kind of shifted it towards like, well, our system is kind of broken, it needs to be tweaked. And here's the evidence, and I can prove it. And I really think it'll work well, and we can test it easily. And if I'm wrong, we'll know right away. And so, you're building this case. You're like a lawyer in a courtroom, okay? So you need to start with evidence. You need to reason through everything and show why we should take the path that you want to take. So in my class, I've noticed students have a really easy time summarizing things, but they have a very difficult time, or at least they don't display a high propensity to being able to investigate, think critically, think about what the opposing view might be, and really reason through the whole process. And so then it's like you get up there and it's like just your opinion, with no reasoning behind it. Like, we don't even know why that's your opinion. Oh, their uniforms are blue, they should be red and black. And it's just assumed, like, like it should be obvious to us, but it's not obvious. You have to, take us by the hand and explain and sell us on it and convince me we should be red and black. Is it red and black because those are aesthetically pleasing colors? Are they the brand colors? Do other similar companies do really well with those kinds of colors? To me, they seem kind of harsh, like really harsh, strong colors. So I don't know why I should just automatically assume or know that that's a good thing. And so if you want to change the uniform colors, how do you, can you show me what other similar companies do? Maybe the more modern, hipper retailers that are similar to my store, but maybe like more cool in Europe or Asia, and like which way are they going with uniform design? and like sell me on it. Don't just tell me like, oh, it should be like this because I'm very creative and I know, you know, it's not, you're not that creative and you don't know. I mean, you need to like, um, I'm not just going to assume that you're right. You have to sell it. So that's what I want you to take away from these readings is some ideas for how to sell your ideas. And I found that students are really good at doing that orally often when I push them, when I ask them questions. But you need to be able to do that in writing as well. It's a very important skill for a marketer and for a salesperson as well. You need to be able to sell your ideas. So let's brush up on that. And when we go into this client project, let's see some really good salesmanship. Let's see, I don't want to be left asking why you want to do this. Why this color? Why this solution? Why is this the problem? I want you to just nail all the whys beforehand. And if you can do that, then you'll have a very successful project and a successful career. So that's all I've got for today.